Yeah, good idea.
Okay, welcome everyone. I see that it's midday. Sean and I were just chatting. I'm here at the waterfront in Cape Town, the V&A waterfront. You can see the big wheel behind me. And the reason being is that I've been buying Lego. So these massive sets, look how big it is compared to my head. And what I'm going to do is build a building when I present with Robert Kiyosaki next week, and then take out a piece of the Lego, and then people will be able to understand what it's like to own a piece of a building, not the whole building. So anyway, we consistently are trying to make it simpler and simpler for people to understand what it is we actually do. So today is all about partners. And there's two things that have happened this week. And whenever we do the kind of the Q&A, I'm trying to kind of recap on what we went through in the week and to answer any questions that anyone has. So as always, if you can please just fire away with any questions you've got. The more questions, the better, in terms of where we're at. But I did want to just recap quickly in terms of partners, a couple of the key things that we shared. And I'm not going to go through the whole presentation again, but I did want to bring up just some of the slides that I think are very important. So if we go through partners, the first one is this slide here. And again, just reminding everyone that if I go to the course over here, I should probably actually just do it. Let me just do it in the course. It'll actually be easier. So if I go down to 5, you'll notice here that you've got the recording. Partners is all about the mission to be confident, to help investors be confident in the right decisions. And then, this is the first slide I was going to show you. So what I do, if you don't already realize, is what I'm about to go through in the summary, I already do for you. So I'll put the key slides in here. So again, if you're short on time, then, this is the thing. But these 4 lessons are some of the most valuable information I can literally give you. Most people I know that have lost money in any deal, not just property, it comes down to the partner. Almost without fail, it comes down to the partner. And so if you're better at choosing the right partners, you're going to be better at making the right decisions. Does that make sense? I mean, just type in the chat box for me so that I know I'm not talking to myself. But does that make sense? If you look back, almost all of us have lost money at some point. Very few people, in fact, I'm not sure I've ever met anyone that has never lost any money. And almost always it tends to come down to it's because of the partner. So again, just to regroup, because I like literally this slide is I don't know exactly the most valuable slide, but it would certainly be in the top 3 most valuable slides that I've ever built and that I can give you. And the first one is that someone needs to have been in business for 10 years plus. I know we want to all support the 22-year-old that's getting started, or the 49-year-old businessman that's fresh out of corporate life and is suddenly starting a business. But if I can tell you one thing, and I learned this from my father, the part I don't tell most people is he was financial director of a listed company, and he tried to go on his own at 49. And what I learned was that if you're going to learn to be an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter whether you're 20 years old or 60 years old. The lessons are the same. Okay. And so you don't want to really be cutting your teeth, or sorry, you don't really want to be putting your money with someone who's cutting their teeth. There's a reason why in the beginning they talk about, I don't know if you've heard that saying, people often raise money from family and friends. There's a third one, it's family, friends, and fools. So like, it's, and these sayings are there for a reason. I know they're cliched, but they're there for a reason. So 10 years is, in my opinion, very important, ideally 20. And not only do you want to know that they've cut their teeth, but you also want to make sure that they've been through a crash. Okay, now call it a crash, call it a downturn, call it whatever you like. But you want to see how they behave when the economy is not working. It's critically important. Okay, and so like for me, what's happened in the last 2 years with the interest rates all over the world is that it's been very interesting seeing how different people behaved. Feldman, as an example, was amazing. They went out and fixed the problem. Whereas, Infinity, our multifamily guys, have done a really good job. MAG have done a really good job. So these institutional partners have all done really good jobs. DWG's done a really good job. I could keep going, but some of them haven't. We had the calamity of COVID. Some people fell over. We've had some problems with buildings where the interest rates, they didn't fix them and then they couldn't pay dividends, etc. So I think you get my point. Like I'm very consciously watching how are people behaving when interest rates go up. And that's the reason for the 10 years track record. So hopefully it makes sense. The second one, specific market knowledge. There's that thing, jack of all trades. Trust me, you do not want to have your money with a jack of all trades. Like you want to be with someone that's been doing whatever they promise they're going to make money. Remember, they're promising they're going to look after your money and they're promising you they're going to get a return on your money. You want someone that's done it for 10, 20 years and knows what they're doing. You don't want them that they're a specialist in everything. I've yet to meet a specialist that's a specialist in everything and that's actually good at what they do. The third one, put your money in. Again, this one is so common sense, but yet it so seldom happens. And then on top of, on the same terms, again, I'm repeating myself, but I got caught out in America and Texas where we put our money in, the partner put his money in, and then when the shit hit the fan, we realized his terms were different to our terms. So that's a really important one as well, especially in America, where you got these clever lawyers and you sign contracts and in good faith you think it's all the same. So actually, one of my things I do is I say, right, like in our contract, I say, like, can we please like literally sign here to say it's on the same terms as our money? Does that make sense? Because I don't want it to get caught out in page 32 of some small print that I don't read. Like the way I do agreements is I like to do MOUs, memorandums of understanding, that are only like 2 pages up front. And it's the English of what we're actually agreeing to. Because then no one can debate whether we did or didn't say it was on the same terms later down the line. So just 2 seconds here quickly.
Give me this one again. This one is what? So I can stop with anyway.
And then the third one is, sorry, the fourth one. Sorry, just 2 seconds. And then, yeah, the fourth one is 80% of equity. This is a brand new one. I only brought this in about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember. I used to only have 3 golden rules. I've now got 4. I'm sure as I get older and uglier, I'll get more golden rules. But number 4 is you've got to have local investors. So I don't remember if I told the story on Tuesday, but there was an opportunity in London that I was offered, but funny enough, by one of our shareholders. So he's a good friend of mine. He stayed at my house for the best part of a week. I've had lots of fun with him in the past. And anyway, he's been in property for a long time. He's raised money on our platform before. But he phoned me up and said he's got this really good deal in London. And on paper, it sounded really good. And then when I said, well, how much money are you raising from your community? Because he's got a community of investors in England and whatever. And he was like, no, I kind of want to raise it from your community. I was like, no, that doesn't work. Needless to say, the conversation didn't last more than 5 minutes because there must be a reason why English people don't want to invest in this amazing commercial opportunity in London and that it has to be funded by a bunch of foreigners. And I know when I say it like that, it sounds like it's such common sense. And yet, when it comes to investing, often common sense seems to get forgotten. Okay, so just do me a favor in the chat box. And by the way, Kelly or anyone else, you're going to have to help me because I'm in an Uber driving back to Camps Bay. And so we might or might not lose me at any point. If I do, I'll just reconnect. The investment process, hopefully this is self-explanatory. If it does look confusing and overwhelming, it doesn't matter. The simple thing I'm showing you here is that we start with the partner first. Most investors start with the deal first. Okay, so let me say that again. Most investors that don't know what they're doing start with the deal first. What you need to do is you start with the partner first. Do you like this partner? Can you trust this partner? Do they have the right track record? Don't even worry about what their deal is until you can decide whether you like the partner or not. Once you like the partner, then you worry about what the deal is. And in a perfect world for us, we're not out there trying to find partners all the time. In fact, my ideal scenario is I find a partner that can bring me 2 to 4 deals a year. And then, if I've got 15 partners like that, that's 60 deals a year. That's plenty. We don't need more than 60 deals a year. It's more than 1 a week. Are you with me? We're not trying to be a Yellow Pages. We're not trying to be a Classifieds. We're trying to bring quality deals where people can invest and diversify. And so a great example of that is the self-storage. The gentleman that everyone met last 2 weeks ago at the mastermind, where, they do 3 to 4 deals a year. Perfect. And I literally said, I want to be involved in every deal you do. The next one, how do we select partners? This is not us. This is a worldwide standard, and it's just a way that we basically show people, how much experience the company has, how many assets under management. It's just an easy way to label them. And again, you've got a white paper explaining all of this, so I'm not going to go into more detail about it. And all the white papers are down here. There's your white paper there, deal risk category, compliance and risk management, due diligence partners. It's all here. All your white papers are already here for you. This, in terms of core plus, value add, and opportunistic, again, you can see it's a way to rank a deal between return and risk. I spoke a lot about this on Tuesday, and you can go look at the PowerPoint if you want, which is here. There the slides are, module 5 slides. But also, if you go to deal risk categories, that's actually explained there. So it goes through it. So it's in there. Partners obviously explains the partner classification. Deal risk categories explains the deal risk. Okay, the bird's eye view. Again, this is just a schematic view of how your money flows. I did update the slide because the one that I had on Tuesday was a slide that I've updated subsequently. So just to show you here, when the money gets paid in the deal, it goes into a deal wallet. And then from the deal wallet, it goes directly into your investor wallet. And then if you want your money back, it can go back into your bank account. You're in complete control of your money. This one, I can't overemphasize how important this is between the old school way of doing it, control, and the new age way of doing it, diversification and partnership. And again, if anyone's got any questions, I would happily spend the rest of the session talking about this, because this is probably the most important learning that I had in the last 10 years. Okay, so and I fundamentally believe where the world is going, that the green way is the only way going forward, and that anyone that does it old school will make money for a while, but more and more they're going to lose money. In terms of the homework, you've got the 5 laws there, so you've got all of them. You can apply for the mastermind, and you can put your key takeaways. I noticed a lot of you are not putting your takeaways. I would strongly recommend that you do. So I can see only 4 people have put their takeaways in. It's really valuable to put your takeaways in. Not only are you doing it for yourself, because it really causes you to think like, right, what were the key takeaways? What were the top 3 key takeaways? But on top of that, you're also sharing for others, because if Enoch comes along and sees what Tracy said, and if Tracy sees what Chiba said, then fantastic. It's everyone's learning from each other. So it is my one concern at the moment when I look at the course in general, that people are not doing their key takeaways. And I've done it specifically in school, not in like the chat room or whatever, because they should have a life to them. 3 months from now, someone could come back and get involved if they want to. And then if you want the due diligence stuff, you've got the GIDS, the global investment due diligence. That's all under the gold and the master checklist. And then you got the cheat sheets. Okay, cool. So I think that's everything with regards to the partners. Richard said, what are strategic partnerships economic error? Richard, you're going to have to help me a little bit. Where are we referring to? Strategic partnerships economic error. Is this what you're talking about here? The 4 ways to expand your global real estate portfolio through strategic partnerships. Sorry, I need a bit more context, Richard. I'm not sure what the question is related to. If you want to talk, you could. Garden of Eden 175, Agri error.
Hi, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just if you look at the way that society's evolved, Garden of Eden until about 1750 was all agricultural, then the industrial era to about 1950, and we've gone through distribution eras, we've gone through information eras, we've gone through social media, we've gone through a whole lot of different eras where you make money, or you're able to make a lot of money very quickly as the new era comes on, and the one era creates a need for the next era. And we've gone into strategic partnerships. For example, you can do affiliate marketing, and you can have stuff on Amazon, and you can get a huge amount of the value out of that transaction.
Okay.
And those are strategic partnerships.
Yep.
And now obviously we've got the AI stuff coming in. and that's going to be a new era.
I completely agree with you. Funny enough, the very first part of the presentation, I'm just looking for it here, battling to download it while in the car here, just seeing if I can find the Wealth Weekend. Where's it gone? Anyway,
if I can just add quickly to that, when you
Sure.
see Elton John and Barbara Streisand singing a duet together or something, that's Barbara Streisand trying to get access to Elton John's support base and vice versa. So it's a very clever tactic. Instead of just having the Elton John fans and the Barbara Streisand, or maybe it's a rapper that's with Elton John or something wacky, they're crossing over. They're actually fishing in each other's ponds.
Yeah,
That's strategic partnership.
yeah, no,
Sharing.
completely agree with you. And I mean, just to reiterate what you're saying, Richard, if you look at this, which is something that I will talk about at the Wealth Weekend, and I've already done a presentation for the mastermind members about this, but it's basically what you were talking about. You know, we've gone from the hunter-gatherer society to the agrarian society to the industrial to the information age, and now we're in society 5.0, which is all about using technology and as you said, strategic partnerships and everything in between. So I'm not going to go into this in detail today, but I mean, I'm literally going through this, and again, anyone can join us at the Wealth Weekend, but I literally go through this on Tuesday afternoon, because what Richard's talking about, you know, one of the best ways to create wealth is to understand trends and to be ahead of a trend. Like if you understand trends, so what we do with at the Wealth Weekend, as an example, is we talk about the 6 mega trends of investing. And what Richard's referring to is one of the mega trends that you need to know about. And if you understand the mega trends and can position your investments to be taken into account of the mega trends, then it's going to fundamentally work in your favor. So yeah, Richard, I completely agree with you. Just for the record, I love the fact you use strategic partnerships, because you know, there's a big difference between, and I'd love to know in the chat box if people know the difference between networking and strategic partnerships. Can anyone tell me? Anyone want to give it a go? Assume you can hear me and that my Wi-Fi has not disappeared, and silence is just because people don't know. So Chiba says strategic is long-term vision. Thomas says alignment. Shivan says networking is many people. Partnerships is chosen individuals. The number of hops away from the action. Networking is like meeting people, forming friendships. Network casual. Yeah. So you know what I say, and I'm going to be a little bit crude here, but for me, networking is complete and utter bullshit. You know, these people that go to networking events and all hand out business cards. I've never seen so much rubbish in all my life. It doesn't work. It's ridiculous. But what strategic partnerships are is when I went to the investor summit, there were 130 people there. Who's the one person I went to build a relationship with? One person. Okay, so and in that basis, I was very strategic about it because I ultimately want to get to Robert Kiyosaki. But Veronica is Robert Kiyosaki's promoter, and she promotes him worldwide. So if I don't get to Veronica, I will never get to Robert. And Veronica's brother is Douglas, and Douglas runs, you know, a whole bunch of stuff for Veronica. And so I spent all the time with Veronica and Robert and Richard. No, Robert, Veronica, and Douglas. Yeah. So that's the kind of a real life story of a strategic partnership. I'm not going to say anything yet, but I'm presenting in Joburg next week and in Durban the week after with Robert Kiyosaki and both Veronica and Douglas at their event, which is why I'm the new owner of some big Lego pieces. And I have a very strong business plan that I want to put to them, but I don't want to talk about it publicly yet until it's done. And so that's a strategic partnership. You know, if you can partner with Rich Dad, Poor Dad globally, that's quite a thing. And to give you an idea of where I'm going with that, what I said to Robert Kiyosaki personally is I said, you have democratized access to financial education, and we have democratized access, full stop. because he teaches people how to do it. We're helping people do it. Does that make sense? Now, obviously, he couldn't do that 30 years ago because there wasn't technology. So my thing is, Robert, let's make this part of your legacy. And where you've changed the world from an education perspective, now let's change the world from a results perspective. And now you're properly getting in my head around sales and marketing and strategic partnerships. I can see the thumbs up, Richard. So yes, very serious intent that is happening next week around that. So anyway, I love what you're saying, Richard. I just for the record, I believe the future of business is all around partnership. So really backing what Rich is saying. And we've never done anything on our own. Never, not one. Even the very first property I bought when I was 22, I did in a partnership. I've never done anything on my own. Because I just don't think it makes sense. I think there's so much more power in partnership. But if I can give one warning to that, make sure you're aligned. Because without alignment, it falls over. It doesn't matter how much money is on the game, on the table. In fact, the more money, the more problems you have if you're not aligned. So yeah. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Any other comments around partnerships? I could talk about partnerships the entire time because I can't overemphasize how important it is to be able to choose the right partnerships. Sure. I'm going over the top of Table Mountain here, so I hope we don't lose you. If there's no questions, then should I pivot to the presentation I did last night on Know Your Numbers? Now, to all of you who were here last Friday, hopefully you see the speed that I like to operate at, because you asked me a bunch of questions, and I was like, right, that's actually a very good question. Why don't we turn that into a webinar? Why don't we turn that into that wealth pyramid that we've basically created? And why don't we turn that into a game? And so in 7 days, we've created all of that since last Friday. And I'll share it with you because you guys are the inner circle. But I'm super, super excited about this. Like, if you look at Robert Kiyosaki and all of them, why do all of these people take off so much? They take off because they've got a game. They make it easy. So let me show you here quickly. Where's it gone now? So partnerships are like marriages. Yeah, Kevin, they are. And if you're not aligned, they don't work either. Okay. So here you've got the Wealth 5.0 game. By the way, any constructive feedback, welcome. You are the first people in the world, including my own team. I only sent this to my own team last night. So I'm just going to close the cameras so that I can see. Just do me a favor in the chat room. Just shout if you lose me because I can't see you at the moment. I've only got one screen. But yeah, so the Wealth 5.0 game takes the 7 pillars of wealth that we've basically designed over all these years and gives people a scorecard. So they can literally go and score themselves now. Is my sketch. Okay, I'll be coming down the other side into camp space soon. Sorry, it's nothing I can do about it. So you've got the old economy, new economy, and really what I want to be able to do, and if you, with your permission, I will share the game here as long as you don't share it with others. But I would love people to go and do the game, but where I want it to be self-explanatory. So I want people to be able to literally get it and be able to play without me having to give you an hour-long presentation. But in simple terms, you've got the old economy, new economy. You've got your growth. You've got your cash flow. I see this won't work actually because I don't have the pictures there. So this is tied with my presentation for next week. So I suppose that. Well, anyway, I'm going to give it. I would like to give it to you, and you can tell me whether it makes sense. Your cash flow quadrant, your wealth readiness, your 4 elements, passive income, your investor dashboard, and your freedom formula. So next week I'll be presenting at Success Resources, and I'm going to spend 30 minutes explaining how each one works. I'm going to spend sort of 5 minutes on everything, and then people can literally go and fill it in and then add it up. And then they'll finally get a score, and that'll help them know where they kind of stand. So Chantal, I'll happily share it with you. No one else wants it, so that's fine. And but what I wanted to share it is that I'd actually love a bit of crowdsourcing. You know, we're doing quite a lot of crowdsourcing and co-creation. And I'm going to put it here in the, because I don't know which chat room to put it in. So I'm just going to put it here in the live file. And yeah, if anyone sees any spelling mistakes or anything that's not logical or anything that you think I should change, it'll be a little bit late now because I've already sent the talk. I've already sent they're putting it into the workbook for Success Resources. But if you do notice anything that needs to change, please let me know, because obviously I want to update it, because I think this is, something going forward. Now, I do want to show you something quite funny, and I've got to find it for you quickly. Okay, so let's show you the evolution. I don't know if you're interested in all of this stuff, but here's the evolution. So I created it originally, and this is what it looked like. And I went through with my business coach, and she was like, Scott, no one's ever going to fill that in. Like it looks difficult. It looks like a matric maths exam. It's hard. She said it needs to be easy. It needs to be fun. It needs to be a game. I called it a wealth audit. She was like, no one likes to be audited on their life. Make it a game. So yeah, yesterday I evolved the complex wealth audit into the wealth game, and there I've put it in the chat room. If you can do me a favor, if you've got feedback, just send me a private WhatsApp. You should all have my WhatsApp details. Just if you see a spelling mistake or anything that's wrong or something's not logical, or if you think there's a better word or whatever, I've got no doubt that this is version 1, and there'll be many, many more versions of this. As you know, I've even already noticed playing it once or twice myself, there's a little bit of overlap, so I could probably tighten it a little bit, etc., etc. But I think you get my point. When I do the presentation, I think I've got it open here. Yeah, I do. So when I do the presentation, which is maybe what I need to put in that worksheet, I actually do it like this. So I use the visual. So there'll always be 2 slides for everything. So the first slide, I'll explain what how this works. And then the second slide will be where they score themselves. And there'll be this little picture. So maybe, just talking out loud here, but maybe I need to have that little picture in the workbook, so that it's just obvious as to what belief and knowledge is, what is a clear plan, what is access, what is a system, and what is accountability and trust. But yeah, any feedback, welcome. I would really appreciate it. Games are loads more fun than an audit. I agree with you. No one likes to be audited, especially by me or the tax man. So anyway, so yeah, so and just so that you know the intention, we meet people all the time, specifically Alex and I, and they literally say to us, no, our finances are completely in place and my financial planner is doing a great job. And so what we're intentionally doing is saying, okay, well then do the test. And yeah, the intention will be to create plan. Okay, listen, I need to just have 1 minute. I've just got to get in the house and then I'll be back at my desk. Just 2 seconds. Maybe Kelly, you can talk to the Wealth Weekend, and if there's anything about the Wealth Weekend, just while I move, please.
Okay, sure. Hello, everybody. I'm also in my car, although you wouldn't know because I have my background on. Jonty's playing rugby. They just did their spring walk today and they got their spring dance tonight. So we're multitasking. Hi, Thomas. I don't know if anybody's got any questions about anything Scott said or about the Wealth Weekend or the webinar last night and the virtual Wealth Weekend. Hi, Ines.
Can you talk to the link? Because I know some people had problems with the link. I mean, I even tested it myself, and it sort of said, you need to have your name and whatever. I mean, I finally
No,
figured it out, but I think just to confirm, it's 100% working. It took a little bit
Yeah,
of
so I've
figuring out.
sorted it with Shane this morning. There were some duplicate payments, so I'll contact those clients. So if anybody did have an issue, let me know. But I think it's all been sorted. It looks to me like it's all working now, Scott. I don't know if you're listening. The room is quite full now. We had a good response last night.
I am here.
So a lot of people contacting me, asking me, yeah, if we still got tickets. I think we're pretty full. We've almost reached our 100 now. And I've closed the Wealth Weekend live. But if there is anybody in the community, I can try and make a plan. So Please just reach out to me if there's anything that I can do. You know, I like to provide 5-star service to our clients. But Josh, I'm pretty sorted on my end with the admin of the virtual and the links and the payments, and I can't believe this multitasking going on. What's anybody else? No questions. I'm looking forward to meeting the clients that are coming that I haven't met yet face to face. And hopefully meet the rest of you. Like Shana, you one of the ones who's always online. So I hopefully get to meet you one day.
I would love to. I would love to meet everybody. I would so like to just be able to jump on a plane and come there. And I know I'm missing out and I hate it, but I just don't have the money to go.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah,
I've got the,
Portugal.
yes, definitely. He's keen to try and do it in March.
Yeah, I'm
And I'm
No,
intending to go.
just to be clear, March will be in South Africa and Portugal will be in September. Because but if we just think about it logically, like it's a weather thing. Think about it logically. Like you want to be in the southern hemisphere in March and you want to be in the northern hemisphere in September. Like so it's
Yeah.
not a sync. That's why Portugal is supposed to be now in September. And
Okay.
and I don't want to break that sync because otherwise we're going to be traveling to winter every time. That makes no sense. Like
No, it doesn't. You're quite right. You're quite right.
and for someone that likes weather, there's a reason I left England, and it wasn't because I like football.
Hey, I'm with you.
Okay, so Sonia, joining the Wealth Weekend online, we actually did an option last night where you can pay $1 up front and you can experience it. And if you love it, you will be charged the price, which is $147. If you didn't love it, you can cancel the transaction. So we literally, we know people love it. So we're putting the ball in people's court. If you were to cancel though, you won't get the workbooks and obviously it's a good faith thing. It's if we've added value, then you pay for it. If we haven't added value, then I don't want your money basically. So, just make sure it's September's off-season rates. Yeah, look, Richard, I hear you. The idea is to let the Poms go home and then enjoy Portugal without them. No, Shona, not you. I'm talking about those chavs that are like, if you ever go away in Europe in July and August, trust me, one of the worst experiences of my life was I took my brother on holiday to Cyprus and we went to Ayia Napa or something. It's like
my God.
It's like the Ibiza of Cyprus, and it was horrendous. I mean, literally,
I bet.
it was the lowest of lower class Manchester pool and ever Newcastle. Like it was horrendous.
Yeah.
Stop yourself now, Scott, before you go too low.
He's so right, low.
But some things you don't say. I put the links for the online and the live event, and I've also put the link, I think most of you have seen it, for Scott's webinar last night. It's a brand new webinar, and he launched his wealth game, and he's also got the freedom calculator there and the investor language. But if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to me at any time, always. Okay, I'm going to mute, Scott.
Okay, cool. Well, I actually want to kind of pivot now to, thanks, Kelly. I want to pivot now to what we did last night. And I shared with you the freedom calculator. By the way, no one's ever seen that freedom calculator because I'm talking the updated one. So everyone, if you do have the freedom calculator, it is quite important that you look at the version. Okay, so you can see how we are growing the freedom calculator. So let me just come back here. Just got to remember where to go and find it. So if you go to start here, this is just and you go to here. It says lesson 2, get clear, and there's the freedom calculator. So if you notice here, when you open it, it's actually version 4. Now all of you only have version 3. I know for a fact because it only got uploaded yesterday. So unless you got it last night, then you'll have version 4. And what is the difference? Version 3 had the wealth plan, so nothing's changed on that. The 20-year plan, it had that, and it had the monthly premium. But what it didn't have was this capital. And because Alex specifically gets asked all the time, I have X amount of capital. Is it worth it for me to join the mastermind? And I've proved to people with basically $10,000 or more, but 12,000 seems to be the sweet spot, that that it actually makes a substantial difference to people. And it's interesting, actually, when one understands compounding, how little you need to actually have an impact, to be able to get the right knowledge, get the right plan, to be able to start investing. And even Shona, like your comment earlier, like in terms of, I mean, I get it completely, not being able to fly out to South Africa, etc. I get it completely. But the difference is you're completely immersing yourself and getting the knowledge. And if you think back to this part of the wealth of this building here, is that what you're doing, and where I celebrate you, is that it always starts with this belief and knowledge. If you don't have that, you can't build a building without a foundation. It doesn't exist. So if you look at it from your perspective, Shona, you've already got the belief and knowledge, and again, it's a work in progress. Obviously, it's a never-ending journey, and you've got the plan, you've got access to the system, etc. So it's these things happen in an evolution. And the one thing that I struggle with, particularly when I go speak at these type of success resources type events, is that my competitors or my peers, whatever you want to call them, all get rich quick scheme. So their logic is, sign up and you'll make $1 billion within 3 minutes. And, what I'm very consciously doing, even with the game and everything else, is firstly, I think it's bullshit. I'm yet to meet someone that does a trading course or does an online business and within 1 month has all the things that they are promised. I've yet to meet anyone. And if anyone has a good example, put it this way, if it happens, it's 1 in 1,000. And when it comes to true wealth, it's a 10-year plus journey, easily. Okay. And so for me, that's the message that I keep trying to share and teach people, which they don't like to hear, by the way. They're like, oh, why would I pay you when I can make $1 billion with that other guy? And I'm like, cool, go lose your money. And then when you've lost it, come talk to me. I know it sounds terrible. That's how I feel. I'm in a naughty mood today, if you haven't picked it up. It's my mate's 50th, and I'm down in Cape Town, and we're going to have a fun weekend. Would love to come, however, not possible this year. Yep, no, understood. Look, just for the record, if you're wanting to plan, I'm bouncing around now, but this is now a course in time management. One of the greatest gifts that I can recommend for you is a little video. I'll find it for you quickly. So let me just find this video for you. I give it to the mastermind members, but let me just give it to all of you now quickly. So there's a video by Stephen Covey. It's literally 4 minutes long. So if I just go here, I'll show you how the mastermind members work. So we go to resources. So within our 9-step process, and there's a thing here called Getting Things Done by Stephen Covey. In fact, no, we've only got 20 minutes. Okay, I'm not going to share I'll just share the video. You can watch it yourself. So I'll put it in the chat. And okay, there it is in the chat for all of you. Anyway, the essence of the video, you've all probably heard about it. You've all seen it, but I can tell you what, it's a bloody good reminder of life, as to how you can do the important things. And why I'm telling you this is that one of the most sophisticated systems that I have in terms of time management, and everyone laughs at me, and you think it's AI or something fancy. It's not. I'll just need to find it for you. How's it going now? Weird. Right, just got to look through my paperwork here. I'm still a +40 who likes to print stuff.
What are you looking for? Can I help you?
Oh, this is my calendar. I don't know where my calendar's gone. Oh, well. I've obviously left it on my desk. It's weird because I normally travel with it. I've always got it wherever I go. Anyway, the point of my calendar that I want to show you is that I actually print out 12 months, January through December. And I put in all the important stuff. So I put in like my son's, when the holidays are, and when Springbok rugby games are, and the very important things in life. And then it's basically what you talk about with the big rocks. So coming back to this wealth weekend, like I'm amazed, and even more so for the mastermind members. Like, where's it gone here? Who just said that they would love to be there? So I'm just looking back through. Chantal said she would love to be there. Okay, Chantal, you're not guilty, okay? Because like you only found out about it recently and whatever. But for my mastermind members, I told them in December. I told them when it was happening. I literally told them the exact dates and when it was happening, okay? And so when people say to me, oh, but I didn't know about it or whatever, I'm like, well, like sort your life out, because the big rocks in life. So just today, I've proposed new dates for 2026 to Garth. Now, I'm not going to tell you what they are because he hasn't confirmed them yet and people will get confused. But I can tell you it's the second week of March, okay, plus minus. It might be the first, it might be the third, but it's going to be early March. And it's going to be the first, second, or third week of September. Because I think it's a good time of the year. And let me explain myself. January, February is too quick. People are coming back. The year is too busy, blah, 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 blah. April's a nightmare. There's lots of school holidays and, and for me personally, even and whatever. You don't want to leave it to May, June because you're too far into the year. And then on the second half of the year, you don't want to do it in November. It's too late in the year. People have checked out. So for me, September, October is the best month. And my logic was to get in before kind of a lot of business people are trying to do end of year planning, strategic getaways, all of that shit around October, November. So my logic was do it in September. Plan your wealth first and then figure out what you're doing with your business going into 2026. I'm just telling you how my brain, whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but that's just the logic. So I've already given Garth and them the dates. And yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hang on, I'm just going to mute everyone. So Sonia, from sunny South Africa, just in my interest, I've heard that return airfare from UK to South Africa tends to be more expensive than a return airfare from South Africa to the UK. Scott, have you found that true? Sorry, slightly off topic, but I do empathize. Yeah, no, they love to charge British people pounds because they're in pounds. Us poor South Africans must pay less. I mean, we're going to Botswana, by the way. So yes, Sonia, it's definitely like that. It's definitely like that. I don't know why, but it is more expensive flying the other way. We're going to Botswana in 2 weeks, and Paul O'Mahony, because he's Irish, has to pay double what me and Robin Banks have to pay. I think it's classic. Because we've got a South African passport, we get half price. So anyway, we have actually even considered it. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but we have considered offering our mastermind at a different price for South Africans to overseas hard currency, because there's just such a difference in buying power. It's hard to explain if you don't know. Okay. So what I wanted to do now was I wanted to do two things. One was
sorry, just one quick. What if you bought the ticket on their behalf? Won't it be cheaper, or do you still need their passport to justify your costs?
No, it's not about that. If you think about it logically, you're still going to tell. I mean, you could get a travel agent to do it, but the travel agent still has to get them from England to South Africa and from South Africa to England. That's the problem. So
okay.
Yeah. Anyway. I was thinking the same thing while you were literally while I was even talking. I was like, we could do the bookings for them, but it's just the logistics. Anyway, it works that way. So let's just go here quickly. So this video, just by the way, I know you've all heard this before. I'd be very surprised if you haven't. But more recently, I've been at a mastermind level. I literally play this for virtually every client. I would say if I have 100 meetings for the mastermind, I'm talking onboarding meetings where I meet with you one-to-one, I would say time management comes up 95% of the time. That's quite a high stat. So I've now watched this video a lot recently. And every time you watch it, it's a very good reminder of what is actually important. So there were two things I wanted to show you. Let's go back to Wealth Going Global, partners, here. And you've got the summary. So always just a reminder of the summary. If you don't have time or you want to go back and review it, I would always recommend just using the summary, because I do take quite a bit of time and I literally go in and I even put the slides in and everything. So I try and make it as easy as possible for you to have everything in one place. So I hope you're enjoying the summaries because they take a lot of work. And then the second thing I wanted to show you was if you go to the Wealth Hackers, where's Wealth Hackers? Wealth Hackers. You all are Wealth Hackers and all mastermind members. So it's the same for the mastermind members. You can basically go down here and you've got the know your numbers. So what I did last night was, or yesterday, was you can go in and you've got the know your numbers workbook, which has been designed. If you look at how I did it, it's not just notes from the presentation. It's an actual workbook. Like you should go through it. And, last night I just gave you the theory, but you should actually write down why this is important. Okay. And then each section, there's like action items you need to do. Okay. And then secondly, you've got the investor cheat sheet, which, by the way, I've tried to make it as simple and easy as possible. So any one of them. So I just want to share that for you. So if you're in a Wealth Hacker, you've got access to that. If you're a mastermind member, you've got access to that. If you're a freebie, which means you wouldn't be on this call, but if you are a freebie, you have to engage with us on the community. That's the tax they have to pay for freedom. But no, I mean, it's just, I don't mind sharing it, but I, we only want to share it with people that are engaged. Whereas obviously in the paid for community, then, then you've paid for it. It's your right to knowledge. That's my opinion. Okay. So Chantal says, thanks so much. It does help with the summaries. Thank you, Shona, on the, I don't know what alpha plus means, but anyway, all good. The summaries are fantastic. Okay, cool. Look, I'm not someone to beat around the bush. The power of AI now is phenomenal. Like the way I can produce stuff and the speed at which I can produce stuff. I mean, even that game yesterday. I mean, I created the framework, then AI helped me. It took me a whole day, just to be clear. But so this is not one of those things where I said to you, I created in 5 minutes. But you evolve it and you adapt it and you adapt it. And then when I had that thing, which I've already shown you, which was complicated, it looks like it was your A-levels matric exam. And then I said, right, take all of this. I put the whole transcription of the coaching session with my Cherie, my speaking coach. And I said, take all of her advice, take what we've built, and now rebuild it to make it a game. And it came up with all the stars and everything. Like it's, my team tells me I shouldn't tell you the behind the scenes of what I'm doing, but I don't know. I think there's value in just learning because hopefully you can all copy it and do it within your own businesses and in your own lives. It's phenomenal what you can do. Ever since I read that book, The AI-Driven Leader, I've taken using AI to a whole nother level, and I'm sure I don't know, Richard and others take it quite seriously. I probably am still only playing in the 20% quartile. I don't know. I'm not by any measure saying I'm an expert. Richard, I use ChatGPT. So look, I think I've said it here, but I'm going to say it again. I've figured out what they're doing, all of them. Okay. Because ChatGPT has me completely now. Like I've uploaded everything. Like it knows everything about me. Okay. So now to move to any of the other ones, I have to start again. Okay. It's like what the bank did when I was 13. The bank gave me a bank card. Okay. At 13, and I opened a bank account. And to this day, I'm 48 and I have all my business accounts and my personal banking with that same bank because it's just too difficult to move. That's what they've done. It's so clever. And I can see the race for this AI space, because once you're on Grok, you're going to stay on Grok. Once you're on I don't even know all the different names. I don't know why I got on ChatGPT first, but I did. And now it's got everything. And now I'm not going anywhere. And I don't care how much people tell me it's better somewhere else. I'm not going there. Although I will say one thing, which is phenomenal. And I don't know if you were on the AI session with Judy, but I didn't know this, but you can ask, I asked ChatGPT to do something and it's like an employee and it comes back to me and says, I'll give it to you in 8 hours. And then I wait 8 hours and I come back and I'm like, you haven't done your job. Like it literally is like dealing with an employee. And anyway, so someone recommended, believe it or not, on that AI thing, that you should threaten your ChatGPT. So you literally threaten and say, if you are not capable of doing the job, should I go to Grok to get the answer? I was like, you shitting me. That actually works. He said, yes. I literally did it. Something I'd been waiting for 2 days, I got in 2 minutes. It's literally like a human. Okay, like if you don't do this, you'll be fired. Okay, cool. You get it done the next morning. Like it's literally like it's unbelievable. So there's a little hack that I learned that, you know, ironically, even AI can be threatened. So I find that hilarious. But the irony is it works. It's not a third party story. I've literally done it myself twice. Okay. A plus, alpha plus, people are always producing, achieving. I see what you mean. You should see me on the dance floor this weekend, Shana. Anyway, then you wouldn't be on this call if you're a freebie. Yeah, no, completely. I can see lots of people are using AI. I have another coach who's teaching us to use AI to help. Yeah, Jane, it's fantastic. Look, I'm going to do, I've decided with my speaking coach, I'm going to do an AI workshop. I don't know when, but I'm going to do it in October or November. There's so much I've learned that I can teach people, specifically in this wealth space. By the way, all the dashboards that I was sharing last night, I'm going to build all of that in AI for people. And I built my first GPT last week as well. I know I'm probably behind the 8 ball, but anyway, I'm getting there. Be careful, your AI will report you to HRC. I assume you mean HR. I don't know what HRC means, or ARC. I don't know what that is. When you jailbreak it, things get real very quickly. Not sure what that means. I've been told to say that's not good enough. Do it again. Yeah, look, Jane, to be honest, I've tried that. I've even literally think of AI like a very good performing employee, but that is like doesn't listen to you. Okay. I've literally gone, if you do not give it to me in 8 hours, how would I hold you to account? And then it gives me all the descriptions of how to hold it to account. Then 8 hours later, come back and do what it told me to do. And it goes, I'm so sorry. I'm like, well, sorry doesn't help. It was only when I threatened it that it actually did the job. So we can all see you on the dance floor. Oh yeah, no, that was my Zulu outfit. Yeah, I'll be in my Zulu outfit tomorrow. It's our rugby outfit. I know, Chiba, I'll be teaching AI. So like I told you, my speaking coach has said to me, we are now doing, between me and Shane, we're doing too much in AI to not be sharing it with you guys. Okay, what is this? Chat box versus search engines. Oh, okay. What is this graph showing us quickly? I'm just trying to gauge what it's saying. What is this? What is this actually showing us?
Scott is just showing the comparative of where people are searching for information and who's dominating still. Google.
So what is it? But what's it? So yeah, I mean, well, it would be. I get it because my mother hasn't learned how to use ChatGPT yet. But
they're coming.
But you know what I'd like to see? You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a graph of adoption based on years. So Google's been around since 2000 and I don't know when, 3 or something. Hey?
It's just going to go straight up.
Oh, but that's my point. Like Google's been around for 23 years or something. ChatGPT's been around for 2 or 3 years. Like I'd love to know where ChatGPT is comparison to Google 3 years in.
I don't even think it's going to be an exponential curve. I think it's going to be an exponential line.
No,
it's going to be like a rocket.
I agree.
It's going to trend to vertical.
Courses. I didn't know there was such a thing, course. The Human AI Rights Commission. I didn't know that. Anyway, the woke people will come up with a way to make sure that we feel insecure and bad about ourselves no matter what we do. So anyway, you can see today I'm clearly quite opinionated, but anyway. What else can I help you with? It's Friday afternoon Q&A. Obviously we went through the numbers yesterday. We went through the 4 phases, which hopefully answered mainly this group from our conversation last week of like what are the most important 4 numbers in terms of phrases and what you need to know, and then the 5 numbers on your dashboard. And honestly, I think it's self-explanatory. The point being is that it's whether you're doing it or not. By the way, I'm not doing it either. So I also was like, wow, okay, hang on. I need my own dashboard that I should be checking monthly. I used to have an accountant. So I did used to do this. I had a personal person look after my finances, and every month I got a report on how much I was, but basically like running a business, P&L, profit and loss against your budget, all that. I used to have all of that. But then I went through some tough times, and that was a unnecessary expense that I stopped paying for. So it was a good wake-up call for me to actually go, hang on, dude, you know this shit, you should be doing it. And you all do this. I know you do, because you're like me and we're all human. We know stuff and we don't do it. And if we know stuff and we don't do it, we don't know it. Let me say that again. We know stuff and we don't do it. But if we don't do it, then we don't know it. So that was this week was my own little wake-up call as well, because I was like, I should have my own dashboard. Why don't I? Well, I tell you what, if I'm going to build a dashboard, why don't I just build it for everyone else? That's literally how my brain went. So lucky for you guys, most things I build, it's because I had a problem I needed to solve. Do you know why the Wealth Migrate platform was built? Well, other than change the world, the real answer is it's actually bloody hard to own property in different countries, and I'm useless with taxes and rates and taxes and management and all that shit. And I was like, what about if we just had one place where everything could be in one place and I didn't have to deal with all of the hassle and complexity? And so, as Richard Branson always says, great businesses are always built often from solving your own problems. And now, even more so, I don't even know why I'm telling you all this, but anyway, even more so with the mastermind, because by building a mastermind, I personally have access to a family office that without the mastermind, I wouldn't have access to the family office. And for anyone who's been to the Wealth Weekend and or anyone who's attending next week, by this time next Friday, I guarantee you that you will be in a different place in terms of understanding how it all works and everything else. It's at a whole nother level. And, I'm truly, grateful that because of the mastermind, I get access to that, because Garth never turned up until we had the mastermind. Garth never spent 3 days with us sharing all the information that he knows. Does that make sense? It's actually what frustrates me, particularly with the mastermind people, when they're like, I don't understand the value. I'm like, are you joking? Like, you can't get this anywhere else. It doesn't even exist. You can't even pay for it. Like, you literally have to have tens of millions of dollars to get Garth's attention. Like, and yet we've managed to create a way for people to actually get what you normally only get in a one-to-one meeting. Anyway, that's my little rant for Friday. Figure out a way to manage or solve your own problem, then realize that millions. Yeah, no, well, exactly. Thomas, that's exactly what I learned from Richard Branson 20 plus years ago. Solve people's problems. And that's the easiest way to, just by the way, that's a good lesson for all of you. I was on a one-to-one coaching thing this week, and the person was telling me they want to start a business and this and that. And I was like, cool. So what's the problem you're solving? And if it's too high and it's too big and it's not being understood, then no one's going to pay for it. It's got to be a problem that people really want to pay for to solve. And a good example of that was on Monday. I was on a separate coaching call where I'm being coached, a group coaching call. And this gentleman was trying to sell a $1,500 product for people that have heartburn. And the coach was like, no one's going to pay $1,500 for heartburn. Like, they'll pay $37 or something. And he was basically like, your problem is not big enough for the amount of money you're trying to charge. And, so there's two parts to this. There's that. And the other one is that the riches are in the niches. But now we're getting into an internet marketing coaching session. Okay, so let's look to wrap up. Sonia said, hope Garth will be at the next Wealth Weekend for those of us who can't make it. Yeah, look, I hope so, Sonia. I can never guarantee it, but that's always my aim. See you all next week in Knysna. Running off. Tracy, looking forward to seeing you. Thanks for your wisdom and share, Scott. Enjoy the 50th. Cool. Yeah, no lekker, Chantal. Okay, I can see we're on the hour. If there's no questions, I'm going to wrap up. One thing that I do just want to mention, next Friday is the social day of the Wealth Weekend. And I need to speak with the team, but it could be difficult for me to be online, depending. I will try. I need to, I don't even know when the boat trip is or anything like that. But if, like, I'm on a boat trip on the bloody ocean, I can't do it. And I can't expect
It's at 12, Scott, the yacht.
Okay, well, there's the problem. Okay, there will be no session next Friday. It's not possible. I will send you pictures and make you jealous of being on the
Unless
boat.
we do a quick hello from the boat, just a hi.
Possibly. Well, anyway, we'll communicate. I was raising a flag. I didn't know the times, but I can see a problem coming next Friday. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. And for those of you seeing at the Wealth Weekend, whether it's online or in person, it's the highlight of the entire year for me. So I really look forward to seeing you there. Cheers. Bye.
Bye, everyone.